Elena Morrison had spent 29 New Year's Eves alone, but this one hurt more than the others. Maybe it was because she'd watched everyone in the office make excited plans for weeks, parties, dinners, romantic getaways, while she'd quietly pretended she had somewhere to be. Sarah from accounting was going to some exclusive rooftop party with her boyfriend. Marcus from legal had reservations at that impossible-to-get-into restaurant downtown. Even the interns had plans. A group thing in Brooklyn that sounded loud and fun, and exactly the kind of social event Elena would rather die than attend. Or maybe it hurt more because this year, for the first time in 2 years of working for Salvatore Rizzo, she'd actually wanted to spend midnight with someone specific. Him. Which was stupid and unprofessional and completely pointless because men like Sal didn't notice women like Elena. She was his secretary. Efficient. Invisible. The kind of person who blended into office furniture. She kept his schedule, managed his calls, organized his life, and went home every night to an empty apartment in Queens, where the only living thing that greeted her was a half-dead succulent named Steve. Steve wasn't great company. He didn't even have the decency to die properly. Just sat there in perpetual ugly survival, judging her life choices. Tonight, Elena had made peace with her situation by buying the fancy wine instead of the cheap stuff, queuing up a rom-com she'd seen 12 times, and putting on her most comfortable pajamas, the ones with cartoon penguins that had been a Christmas gift to herself, because no one else was buying her presents. Her parents had died in a car accident when she was 8. No siblings. No extended family that gave a shit about the orphaned kid who'd bounced through foster care until aging out at 18. She'd worked her ass off. Scholarships, student loans, 2 jobs through college, and moved to New York at 27 with a business degree and exactly 0 social skills. 2 years in the city, and she still didn't have friends. Not real ones. Just work acquaintances who didn't invite her to things because she was too quiet, too awkward, too obviously uncomfortable in social situations. It wasn't that Elena didn't want friends. She just didn't know how to make them. Didn't know how to be the kind of person people wanted around. Didn't know how to small talk or network, or do whatever normal people did that resulted in having plans on New Year's Eve. So here she was, 9 p.m. on December 31st, sitting on her couch in penguin pajamas, drinking wine that was still too cheap to be actually good, watching other people fall in love on screen while she contemplated whether it was socially acceptable to go to bed at 10 just to make the night end faster. Her phone buzzed. Work email. Because of course it was. Sal. Happy New Year, Elena. Enjoy your evening. She stared at the message. Sal never texted her outside work hours unless it was urgent. Never made small talk. Never acknowledged holidays or weekends, or the fact that she had a life outside his office. Not that she did, but he didn't know that. This was weird. Elena typed back. Thank you, you too. Professional, appropriate, giving nothing away. 3 dots appeared. Disappeared. Appeared again. Sal. Big plans tonight? Elena's heart did something complicated. He was making conversation. Actual, real conversation. With her. On New Year's Eve. She should lie. Say she had a party to go to. Friends waiting. Plans that didn't involve cartoon penguins and discount wine. Instead, she typed, just a quiet night. You? Dots again. Longer this time. Sal. Gala downtown. 200 people I don't want to talk to. Wearing a tux I hate. Wishing I was literally anywhere else. Elena blinked at her phone. That was more honest than she'd expected. Sal was always controlled, measured, professional. This felt different. Personal. Elena. Sounds terrible. Sal. It is. The champagne is mediocre, and someone's aunt keeps trying to set me up with her daughter who collects porcelain dolls. She has 1,700 of them, in her apartment, where she lives, alone. Elena actually laughed out loud. Sal had a sense of humor. She'd suspected, but had never seen it directed at her. Elena. 1700? Sal. She was very specific about the number, also about their names, all of them. There's apparently a whole backstory. Elena. That's horrifying. Sal. That's my evening. How's yours? Elena looked at her setup. Wine. Movie paused on the opening credits. Steve the succulent judging her from the windowsill. Penguin pajamas. Complete absence of human companionship. Elena. Significantly less porcelain dolls. Sal. Lucky you. The conversation ended there. Elena stared at her phone for 5 minutes, waiting for more, but nothing came. He'd probably gotten pulled back into the terrible gala with the mediocre champagne and the doll collector. She pressed play on her movie. By 11 p.m., Elena had finished the wine, all of it, which was probably a mistake, and was crying at the part where the romantic leads almost missed each other at the airport, but then didn't, because of fate or timing or whatever rom-com magic made everything work out. This is pathetic, she told Steve. I'm crying at a movie I've seen a dozen times while wearing penguin pajamas on New Year's Eve. This is a new low. Steve said nothing. He was a succulent. Also, he was kind of an asshole. On TV, people were gathering in Times Square for the countdown. Elena muted it. She didn't need to hear thousands of happy people celebrating together while she sat alone in her apartment talking to a plant. 11:30. Elena considered going to bed. Just skipping midnight entirely. If she was asleep, she couldn't be sad about being alone, right? That was almost healthy coping. She was halfway to her bedroom when her phone buzzed again. Sal. Still awake? Elena's heart jumped. She typed back immediately, then deleted it, then typed again, then deleted that too, because she didn't want to seem desperate, even though she absolutely was. Finally, yes, movie's almost over. Sal. Good movie? Elena. I've seen it 12 times. It's objectively mediocre, but I like it anyway. Sal. Best kind of movie. 11:45. Her phone stayed quiet. Elena went back to the couch, turned the TV off, sat in the silence of her apartment. 15 minutes until a new year she'd spend exactly like the old one. Alone, working too much, going home to an empty apartment, pretending she was fine. 11:50. Her buzzer rang. Elena froze. Nobody buzzed her apartment, ever. She didn't get deliveries this late. Didn't have friends who dropped by. Her neighbors were strangers who kept to themselves. She walked to the intercom, pressed the button. Hello? Elena, it's Sal. Can I come up? Elena's brain short-circuited. Sal, her boss, at her apartment, at 11:50 p.m. on New Year's Eve. What? Why are you... Can I come up? He repeated. Please? She buzzed him in without thinking, then immediately panicked. Her apartment was a disaster. She was wearing penguin pajamas. She'd drunk an entire bottle of wine. Her hair was in a messy bun held together by a pencil. She probably had mascara smudged under her eyes from crying at the stupid movie. 30 seconds to make herself presentable. That's what she had. Elena ran to the bathroom, looked in the mirror, confirmed she looked exactly as pathetic as suspected. She splashed water on her face, tried to fix her hair, gave up, and was walking back to the living room when someone knocked on her door. Soft. 3 knocks. Elena opened it. Salvatore Rizzo stood in her hallway, still in his tux from the gala, bow tie undone and hanging loose around his neck, looking unfairly attractive and completely out of place in her shitty Queens apartment building. Hi, he said. Hi, Elena managed. Her brain was not functioning. Why are you... Can I come in? She stepped aside. He walked past her into her small living room, looked around at her discount furniture and half-dead plant, and the TV still showing the paused rom-com. You said you were watching a movie, he said. I am. It's almost over. Elena closed the door, suddenly very aware she was in penguin pajamas. Sal, what are you doing here? He turned to face her. In the small space of her apartment, he seemed bigger, more present. The energy of him filled the room. I couldn't do it, he said. Do what? Spend another midnight pretending I don't want to be somewhere else, with someone else. He stepped closer. With you. Elena's heart stopped. What? I've been at that fucking gala for 3 hours thinking about you sitting here alone watching a mediocre movie you've seen 12 times. Thinking about how you never have plans because you don't have anyone. Thinking about how every time I ask what you did over the weekend, you say nothing much because you spent it alone. Thinking about how I've wanted to do something about that for 6 months but didn't because you're my secretary and I'm your boss, and there are rules about that kind of thing. Sal. But fuck the rules. It's New Year's Eve. You're alone. I'm supposed to be at a party I hate, and all I want is to be here, with you. So I left. From somewhere outside, Elena heard people counting down, 30 seconds to midnight. You left your gala, she said stupidly. I left everything. Drove across the city. Probably violated several traffic laws. He was still moving closer. To get here. To you. Before midnight. 20 seconds. Why? Elena whispered. Because I'm tired of pretending I don't notice you. I'm tired of acting like you're just my secretary when you're so much more than that. I'm tired of watching you be lonely when I'm lonely too, and we could be significantly less lonely together. 10 seconds. He was right in front of her now. Close enough that she could smell his cologne, see the flecks of gold in his dark eyes, feel the heat radiating off him. Elena, he said softly. Can I kiss you? 5 seconds. Yes, she breathed. His hand came up to her waist, pulled her against him with confidence and intention. His other hand cupped her face, thumb brushing her cheekbone with unexpected tenderness. 3, 2, 1. Happy New Year, Sal murmured against her lips. And then he kissed her. Not gentle, not tentative. He kissed her like he'd been thinking about it for months, which, apparently, he had. Like he was claiming her. Like the tension that had been simmering between them for 6 months had finally exploded into something neither of them could ignore anymore. Elena's hands fisted in his jacket, pulling him closer, kissing him back with all the loneliness and wanting and desperate hope she'd been suppressing for 2 years. Outside, fireworks exploded. People cheered. The new year began. Inside Elena's shitty queen's apartment, Salvatore Rizzo kissed his secretary like she was the only thing that mattered in the world. When they finally pulled apart, both breathing hard, Sal rested his forehead against hers. I'm sorry, he said. For what? For waiting so long. For letting you spend 29 New Year's Eves alone. For not doing this 6 months ago when I first realized I was in love with you. Elena's breath caught. You're in love with me? Completely. Probably inappropriately. Definitely unprofessionally. He smiled. But yeah. I'm in love with you, Elena Morrison. Have been since you told me my 11 a.m. meeting was a waste of time, and I should cancel it because the guy was full of shit. You were right, by the way. He was full of shit. That was my 3rd week working for you. I know. I've been gone for you since week 3. Just took me 2 years to do something about it. His thumb traced her jaw. Tell me I'm not crazy. Tell me you feel this too. I feel it, Elena whispered. I've felt it for so long I thought I was imagining it. Thought it was just me being lonely and pathetic and projecting onto my boss because he's the only person who talks to me regularly. You're not pathetic. You're incredible. You're brilliant and funny and you don't take shit from anyone, including me. You're the best part of my day, every day. And I'm sorry it took me this long to tell you. You're here now. That's what matters. I'm here now, he agreed, and I'm not leaving. Not tonight. Not ever, if you'll have me. I'm wearing penguin pajamas, Elena said, and I cried at a rom-com, and I talked to my succulent. You should probably know all of that before you commit to anything. Sal laughed. Actually laughed. Warm and genuine and completely unguarded. I love the penguin pajamas. They're adorable. And crying at rom-coms is normal. And talking to plants is fine. Steve needs someone to talk to. Elena blinked. You know my plant's name? You mentioned it once, 6 months ago. I remember everything you tell me, Elena. Every detail. Every small thing you think doesn't matter. It all matters to me. She kissed him again. Couldn't help it. This man, her boss, her crush, the person she'd been secretly in love with for 2 years, had driven across the city on New Year's Eve to spend midnight with her because he couldn't stand the thought of her being alone. Stay, she said when they pulled apart. I know it's late, and this is sudden, and we probably need to talk about the work implications, but stay, please. There's nowhere else I'd rather be. They ended up on her couch, Elena curled against Sal's side, his arm around her, watching the terrible rom-com she'd seen 12 times because he said he wanted to see what she'd been crying about. This is actually pretty mediocre, he said halfway through. I told you. But I see the appeal. Sometimes mediocre is exactly what you need. Is that a metaphor for me? No, you're excellent. The movie's mediocre. There's a difference. He kissed the top of her head. Best New Year's Eve I've ever had. You spent it in Queens watching a bad movie with your secretary in penguin pajamas instead of at a fancy gala. Exactly. Significant upgrade. The penguin pajamas really elevate the experience. Elena laughed, feeling something warm and unfamiliar blooming in her chest. Happiness. Hope. The possibility that maybe, finally, she wouldn't have to spend every holiday alone. Thank you, she said quietly. For coming here. For not letting me spend another New Year by myself. Thank you for letting me in. For not thinking I was insane for showing up unannounced at midnight. I did think you were insane. Fair, but you let me kiss you anyway. Best decision I made all year. Year just started. You've got time to make better ones. Doubtful. This one's pretty hard to top. They fell asleep on her couch around 3 a.m., wrapped around each other, the movie still playing in the background. Elena woke up at dawn to find Sal watching her, his expression soft in the early light. Hi, he said. Hi. You're still here. Told you I wasn't leaving. I thought maybe I dreamed it. The whole night. You showing up, the kiss, all of it. Not a dream. Very real. He brushed hair from her face. And we're going to have to talk about it. About us. About work. About what happens Monday when we're back in the office. Monday seems very far away. It's 2 days away. Still far. Elena snuggled closer. Can we just pretend it's still New Year's for a little longer? Stay in this moment where everything is perfect and uncomplicated? Nothing about us is going to be uncomplicated. I'm your boss. You're my secretary. We work together every day. My family is going to have opinions. Loud, invasive Italian family opinions about everything from your background to when we're getting married to how many kids we're having. There are going to be complications. I know, but... He kissed her forehead. I don't care. We'll figure it out. Together. Because spending New Year's Eve with you in penguin pajamas watching a mediocre rom-com was better than any gala or party or appropriate social event I've ever attended. And I want more of that. More of you. All of you. Even the talking to plants part? Especially that part. Steve needs someone who appreciates him. Elena laughed and kissed him, and thought that maybe, finally, after 29 years of being alone, She'd found someone worth staying for. Someone who'd driven across the city at midnight just to make sure she wasn't spending another New Year's Eve by herself. Someone who thought her penguin pajamas were adorable instead of pathetic. Someone who was looking at her right now like she was the best thing that had ever happened to him. And maybe, just maybe, she was done being lonely. Monday morning arrived with all the subtlety of a freight train. Elena woke up in her own bed. Sal had insisted they move there around 4 a.m. because your couch is trying to kill my back. With his arm around her waist and the terrifying realization that she had to go to work in 3 hours. With her boss, who she'd spent the weekend making out with, who was currently drooling slightly on her pillow. "You're awake," Sal mumbled without opening his eyes. "I can feel you panicking." "I'm not panicking. Your heart rate just doubled. That's panicking." "Okay, I'm panicking. But appropriately. We have to go to work today. Together. And act normal. Except nothing is normal because I spent the weekend in bed with my boss, and everyone's going to know just by looking at us." Sal opened one eye. "Why would they know?" "Because I'm going to be radiating guilty energy. And you're going to look at me differently. And someone will notice, and then everyone will know, and HR will get involved, and..." He kissed her. "Breathe." "I can't breathe. I'm having a career-ending crisis." "It's not career-ending. We're two consenting adults. We'll tell HR, follow proper protocols, make sure there's no conflict of interest. It'll be fine." "You sound very calm about this." "I'm 41. I've been running a business for 15 years. I'm good at handling complications." He pulled her closer. "This isn't a complication. This is the best thing that's happened to me in years. I'm not going to let work ruin it." "Easy for you to say. You're the boss. I'm the secretary who slept with her boss. People are going to talk. Let them talk. I don't care what people think. I care. I don't have friends or family or anyone except my job. If work gets weird, I have nothing." Sal's expression softened. "You have me. That's not nothing. I've had you for 2 days. And you're going to have me for a lot longer than that. Trust me, Elena. We'll figure this out." They arrived at the office separately, Sal at 8:30 as usual, Elena at 8:45 after spending 20 minutes in the bathroom convincing herself she could act normal. She couldn't act normal. The moment she walked in and saw Sal at his desk, her brain short-circuited. He looked up, smiled. A real smile, not his professional one. And Elena felt her face flush. "Good morning," he said. "Morning." She set down his coffee exactly how he liked it, same as every day, except now her hands were shaking. "Your 9 o'clock called to reschedule. I moved them to Thursday." "Thank you." Professional. Normal. Except Sal was looking at her like he was remembering exactly what they'd done all weekend. And Elena was remembering too. And this was a disaster. "Elena," Sal said quietly. "Come here." She moved around his desk. He pulled her down into his lap, kissed her thoroughly, then released her. "There. Now we can be professional for the rest of the day." "That's not how professionalism works." "It's how my professionalism works. I needed to kiss you. Now I'm good until tonight." He smiled at her flustered expression. "Relax. No one saw. And even if they did, we're adults. We're allowed to date. You're my boss. And we're going to handle it properly. I'll call HR this afternoon, start the paperwork. We'll make it official. No hiding, no secrets. Just us, doing this the right way." Elena wanted to argue, but someone knocked on the door. She jumped off Sal's lap so fast she nearly fell, smoothed her skirt, tried to look like she hadn't just been kissing her boss. "Come in," Sal called, amused. His operations manager entered with quarterly reports, and the day proceeded normally. Mostly. Except for the moments when Sal's hand would brush hers passing documents, or when he'd smile at her in a way that made her stomach flip, or when she'd catch him watching her and have to remind herself they were at work. By 3 p.m., Elena's nerves were shot. By 5 p.m., Sal's phone rang. He answered in Italian, his tone shifting from professional to exasperated in seconds. "Mama, no, I'm working, because it's Monday. I don't care what Zia Rosa said." He pinched the bridge of his nose. Fine. Fine. Yes. Tonight. 6 o'clock. I'll be there." He hung up, looked at Elena. "My mother is ambushing me with dinner tonight. Do you want to come?" Elena blinked. "To dinner with your mother? Tonight?" "Yes. That's insane. We've been dating for 3 days. We've known each other for 2 years, and my mother already knows something's up because apparently I was glowing when I left the New Year's gala early. My sister told her. My sister is a snitch." He stood. "Come with me. Meet the family. Let them fall in love with you." "What if they don't fall in love with me? What if they think I'm not good enough? What if—" Sal kissed her. "They're going to love you. You're brilliant and funny and you put up with me, which automatically makes you their favorite person. Come to dinner. I don't know how to talk to Italian families. I'm an orphan with no social skills. I'll say something wrong and your mother will hate me. My mother will love you because I love you. That's how it works. Please come." Elena found herself nodding before her brain caught up with her mouth. Sal's parents lived in Brooklyn, in a beautiful brownstone that had been in the family for 3 generations. Elena could hear the noise from the sidewalk, multiple voices, laughter, what sounded like an argument in rapid Italian. "That's normal," Sal said, taking her hand. "My family is loud. Just roll with it." He opened the door without knocking. The noise doubled. "Salvatore," a woman appeared, mid-60s, gray hair in a neat bun, wearing an apron and wielding a wooden spoon like a weapon. "You're late, and who is this?" "Mama, this is Elena. Elena, my mother Lucia." Lucia studied Elena with sharp eyes that missed nothing. "The secretary." "The girlfriend," Sal corrected. "Elena's my girlfriend." The house went silent. Completely, absolutely silent. Then chaos erupted. "Girlfriend? Since when?" "The secretary? Tell me everything." Lucia held up her wooden spoon. Everyone quieted. She looked at Elena, then at Sal, then back at Elena. "You're the one who makes him smile at his phone," she said. Elena blinked. "What?" "For 6 months he sits at family dinner smiling at his phone like a fool. Won't say why, won't tell us anything. Just smiles." Lucia stepped closer. "You're why he left the New Year's gala early. Zia Rosa called me, said you left at 11:30 looking determined. You went to her." It wasn't a question. "Yes," Sal said. "I went to her apartment, spent New Year's with her, told her I was in love with her. And now she's here, meeting all of you. Try not to scare her away." A man appeared, tall, gray hair, Sal's eyes. "I'm Salvatore Sr. Everyone calls me Senior to avoid confusion. You're the girlfriend?" "Yes, sir." "Good. He needs someone." Senior looked at his son. "She knows what you do?" "She knows enough. And she's okay with it?" "I'm standing right here," Elena said. "You can ask me directly." Senior's eyebrows rose. Sal grinned. "She's okay with it," Elena continued. "I know Sal's business isn't entirely above board. I know his family has complicated connections. I know dating him means accepting things I can't control. I'm okay with all of that." "Why?" Lucia asked. "Because he drove across the city on New Year's Eve to make sure I wasn't alone. Because he remembers everything I tell him. Because he makes me feel like I matter." Elena took a breath. "Because I love him. And that's worth navigating the complicated parts." Lucia smiled. Actually smiled. warm and genuine. You'll do. Come, I'm making braciole. You help. I don't know how to make braciole. You'll learn. In this family, everyone learns to cook. Lucia pulled Elena toward the kitchen. In the kitchen, Elena met the rest of them. Sal's younger sister Gianna and her husband Marco, his younger brother Paolo and his fiancée Teresa, various cousins whose names Elena immediately forgot, Nonna Rosa, Sal's grandmother, who was 92 and terrifyingly sharp. You're the orphan, Nonna Rosa said bluntly. Yes, ma'am. No family at all? None. Good. You need family. We adopt you. Now you have too much family. This is how it works. And that was it. No judgment, no pity. Just immediate adoption into the chaos. Lucia put Elena to work rolling meat while explaining the proper technique. Gianna interrogated her about her intentions toward Sal. Paolo told embarrassing childhood stories. The cousins argued about soccer and rapid Italian that Elena couldn't follow, but enjoyed anyway. It was loud and overwhelming and completely chaotic. It was also wonderful. They like you, Sal murmured, appearing at her elbow. Told you. Your mother is teaching me to make braciole. That means your family. She doesn't teach people she doesn't approve of. Your grandmother said she's adopting me. Also, a good sign. Nonna only adopts people she thinks are worthy. You passed the test. Dinner was exactly as chaotic as Elena expected, and somehow more. 12 people around a table that barely fit 10, everyone talking simultaneously in a mixture of English and Italian that Elena struggled to follow. The food appeared in waves, antipasti first, 3 different kinds, everyone reaching across each other to grab olives and prosciutto and fresh mozzarella drizzled with olive oil Lucia's cousin made in Calabria. Then pasta. 3 different kinds because Lucia couldn't decide which to make, so she'd made all of them. Rigatoni with braciole sauce, homemade ravioli filled with ricotta and spinach, linguine with clam sauce that Paolo had brought from his restaurant because Mama's is good, but mine is better, which sparked a 10-minute argument entirely in Italian that ended with Senior banging his wine glass on the table. Then the main course, chicken cacciatore that had been simmering since morning, roasted vegetables from Lucia's garden, potatoes crispy with rosemary, bread that Gianna had baked fresh that afternoon because store bread is garbage, Elena needs real bread. Children ran around between courses. Paolo's twins, Marco and Sofia, 7 years old and completely feral. Gianna's daughter Bella, 4, who'd decided Elena was her new best friend and wouldn't stop climbing into her lap. The cousins' kids whose names Elena was still learning. Wine flowed freely from bottles that didn't have labels because they were from Senior's friend's vineyard, the good stuff, not the tourist shit. And everyone talked, constantly, about everything. In a volume Elena's neighbors in Queens would have complained about immediately, but here was just considered normal conversation. Elena, you eat, Lucia commanded, adding more braciole to her plate. You're too skinny. Salvatore, you don't feed her? She feeds herself, Mama. Not enough. Look at her. Skinny. You need meat. Eat. I'm eating. More. You eat more. In this family, we eat. This is how we show love. Paolo was arguing with Gianna about whose restaurant had better tiramisu. Marco was telling an elaborate story about a client who'd tried to pay in cryptocurrency. The twins were sword fighting with breadsticks until Senior told them to stop before someone lost an eye. The cousins were debating soccer and rapid Italian, hands gesturing wildly, voices rising until it sounded like they were about to fight, except they were all smiling. Nonna Rosa sat at the head of the table, watching everything with sharp eyes. Halfway through the meal, she tapped her glass for attention. I have announcement, she said, in heavily accented English. Salvatore brings girlfriend to family dinner. This is serious. We welcome her. She has no family, so now she has us. Elena Morrison, you are family now. Salvatore, you do right by her. Marry her, give me great-grandchildren, make her happy. This is my ruling. Nonna, Sal said, laughing. We've been dating 3 days. So? I met your grandfather on Monday, married him on Saturday. 3 days is plenty. You're 41. Stop wasting time. I'm working on it. Work faster. After dinner, Sal's father pulled him aside into his study. Elena stayed in the kitchen with Lucia and Gianna, helping clean up. He's different with you, Gianna said, drying dishes. Lighter. He's been so serious the past few years. All business, no life. But since New Year's, he's been texting me jokes. Actual jokes. I didn't know he remembered how to joke. That's your influence, Lucia added. You're good for him. He needs someone who makes him laugh. I don't know if I'm making him laugh or if he's just happy. Same thing. Happiness makes people lighter. You make him happy, so you make him laugh. Lucia handed Elena a towel. Tell me truth. You're nervous about this family. Terrified, Elena admitted. I've never had family. Don't know how it works. Don't want to mess up. Can't mess up. We're Italian. We yell, we argue, we're loud. But we love hard. You're family now. That means forever. No messing up, no getting kicked out. Just family. Just like that? Just like that. Salvatore loves you. That's enough for us. In the study, Senior was having a similar conversation with his son. She's good, Senior said, pouring grappa. Honest, direct. Doesn't take shit from anyone, including me. I like that. She told me I was wasting her time in the 3rd week she worked for me, Sal said. Called a meeting pointless to my face. I fell in love with her right then. Smart woman. You do waste time in meetings. Senior studied his son. You're serious about her. Completely. I'm going to marry her. After 3 days? After 2 years of watching her, 3 days of actually being with her. But I've known for 6 months this was it. She's it for me. She has no family, no connections. Nothing to bring to this life except herself. She has herself. That's everything. Sal met his father's eyes. I don't need her to have connections. I have enough for both of us. I need her to be real, honest. Someone who sees me instead of the name. That's Elena. Senior was quiet for a moment. Your mother likes her. Everyone likes her. Even Nonna. That's rare. Elena's special. I can see that. Senior raised his glass. To your girlfriend, may she survive this family. May she make you happy. May she give me many grandchildren. You already have 4 grandchildren. I want more. Sue me. They rejoined the family around 9 p.m. Nonna Rosa had fallen asleep in her chair. The cousins had moved to the living room to argue about a soccer match. Lucia was packing up leftovers for Elena to take home. You come back Sunday, Lucia ordered. Every Sunday. Family dinner. This is your family now. You belong here. Thank you, Elena said, meaning it. For welcoming me. For making me feel like I belong. You do belong. Salvatore loves you. We love him. Therefore, we love you. Simple math. In the car, driving back to Elena's apartment, Sal reached for her hand. Overwhelming? Completely, but in the best way. Elena squeezed his hand. Your family is amazing. Loud and chaotic and a lot to process, but amazing. They loved you, I could tell. My mother doesn't pack leftovers for people she doesn't approve of. You got braciole and 3 different desserts. Your grandmother announced I'm family now. She rules the family. If Nonna says you're family. No takebacks. She also told you to marry me and give her great-grandchildren. Nonna's not subtle, but she's not wrong either. Sal pulled up to Elena's building. I know it's fast. I know 3 days is insane, but I meant what I said New Year's Eve. I'm in this. Completely. Forever. If you'll have me. Forever sounds good. Yeah? Yeah. Terrifying, but good. He kissed her in the car, then walked her upstairs. then didn't leave until the next morning because they got distracted, and Elena's couch was significantly more comfortable than Sal's back appreciated. Tuesday at work, they made it official. HR paperwork, disclosure forms, protocols to avoid conflict of interest. Elena would stay as his secretary unless she wanted a transfer, which she didn't. They'd maintain professional boundaries at work. Everyone would be informed appropriately. By Wednesday, the entire office knew. Elena braced for gossip, judgment, whispers about the secretary sleeping with the boss. Instead, her co-worker Sarah from accounting stopped by with coffee. "I heard about you and Mr. Rizzo," Sarah said. "That's really great. He seemed so much happier the past few days. You're good for him. You're not weirded out about the boss-secretary thing?" "Why would I be? You're both adults. You've been working together for 2 years without any issues. If anything, I'm jealous. He's gorgeous and you get to date him. Good for you." That was the general consensus. No judgment, no gossip. Just general happiness that their boss was finally dating someone and seemed genuinely happy about it. By Friday, Elena had been to 2 more family dinners, one at Paolo's apartment, one at Gianna's house, and had learned to make 3 different types of pasta from scratch under Lucia's demanding supervision. By Sunday, she realized she'd somehow acquired an entire Italian family in the span of a week. And maybe, finally, after 29 years of being alone, she wasn't lonely anymore. She had Sal. She had his family. She had Sunday dinners and loud arguments, and Nonna Rosa's unconditional adoption. She had everything she'd never known she needed, and it had all started with a knock on her door at midnight on New Year's Eve. "What are you thinking about?" Sal asked, pulling her closer on her couch. "How my life changed in a week. How I went from spending New Year's alone to having Sunday dinner with your entire family. How I went from lonely to this. Good this or overwhelming this. Both. But mostly good. Good. Because you're stuck with me now. And my family. And Nonna's great-grandchildren demands. We've been dating a week. Nonna doesn't care about timelines. She wants babies. Tell Nonna to be patient. You tell her I'm terrified of her." Elena laughed and kissed him, thinking that maybe loneliness hadn't been her permanent state after all. Maybe she'd just been waiting for the right person to knock on her door at midnight and change everything. 3 months after New Year's Eve, Elena Morrison realized she'd accidentally acquired a life. Not just a boyfriend, though Sal was definitely part of it, with his unexpected sweetness and terrible jokes, and the way he kissed her goodbye every morning like he was going to war instead of to the office upstairs. But an actual life. The kind with plans and people and reasons to leave her apartment. Sunday dinners at the Rizzo house were mandatory. Elena had learned this the hard way when she'd suggested maybe skipping 1 week, and Lucia had called her directly, not Sal, her, to express her disappointment in a way that made Elena feel like she'd personally betrayed the entire Italian heritage. "But I have laundry," Elena had started. "Bring your laundry. I have machine. You do laundry here, you eat dinner, you spend time with family. This is how it works." So Elena had brought her laundry, and her dry cleaning, and somehow ended up learning how to properly fold fitted sheets, while Nonna Rosa supervised and critiqued her technique. "You fold like orphan," Nonna had said bluntly. "No one teach you properly. I teach you now. Watch." It should have been offensive. It was Nonna. Elena just watched and learned. She'd also learned how to make 7 different pasta shapes from scratch, the proper way to argue about soccer, loudly with hand gestures. Which cousin was banned from bringing wine? Marco, after the 2019 incident no one would explain. How to tell when Lucia was actually mad versus just Italian loud. That Nonna's just 1 bite meant eating an entire second dinner. How to navigate Paolo's fiancé. Teresa's passive-aggressive comments about people who date their bosses. Ignore her, according to Gianna. That seniors study was off-limits during meals unless you were being inducted into family business discussions. How to make braciole without crying. Impossible, according to everyone. She'd also accidentally made friends. Sarah from accounting invited her to lunch, then drinks, then a girls' night that turned into a regular Thursday thing. Other co-workers started including her in conversations, asking about her weekend, treating her like a person instead of furniture. "You're different," Sarah had said one Thursday over their third round of wine. "Lighter. Like you're finally comfortable in your own skin." "I have a boyfriend," Elena had said, "and his family adopted me. It's weird. It's healthy. You were too isolated before. Now you have people." Elena had people. It was bizarre and wonderful, and sometimes overwhelming. Like tonight. Sal had been weird all week, distracted, checking his phone constantly, leaving the office early for meetings he wouldn't explain. Elena had started to worry he was having second thoughts, that 3 months of dating had made him realize she wasn't worth the complication. "You're being paranoid," Sarah had said. "That man looks at you like you invented oxygen. He's not having second thoughts." "Then why is he being weird?" "Maybe he's planning something." "Like what?" Sarah had just smiled. "Use your imagination." Now it was Friday night, and Sal had asked her to dinner, not at his parents' house, not at their usual spots, somewhere new. "Wear something nice," he'd said. "Not work nice, date nice." How nice? The blue dress nice. The blue dress was her favorite, the one she'd worn to the office holiday party where Sal had told her she looked beautiful, and then immediately gotten distracted by a phone call. She'd thought he'd forgotten. Apparently not. Sal picked her up at 7, wearing a suit that wasn't his work suit. This one was special, tailored perfectly, dark charcoal, the kind of thing he wore to important family events. "You look nervous," Elena said, kissing him hello. "I'm not nervous. You're sweating. It's warm in here. It's 60 degrees. Fine. I'm nervous. Can we go?" The restaurant was one Elena had never been to. Small, intimate, clearly expensive. They were led to a private table in the back, away from other diners. "This is fancy," Elena said. "What's the occasion?" "Can I take my girlfriend to a nice dinner?" "You can, but you're being weird about it. What's going on?" Sal opened his mouth, closed it, opened it again. "I'm bad at this." "At what?" "At this." He gestured vaguely. The romantic gesture thing. "I'm better with direct communication." "So communicate directly." "Fine." He pulled a small box from his pocket, set it on the table between them. "I love you. I want to spend my life with you. I want to wake up next to you every morning and go to bed beside you every night. I want Sunday dinners with my loud family and quiet Tuesday mornings and everything in between. I want to give you the family you never had. I want to be your family, forever. Will you marry me?" Elena stared at the box, at Sal, at the box again. "That's your proposal?" "Yes. Was it bad?" "I practiced. My sisters helped. They said be honest and direct and don't overthink it." "You practiced with your sisters?" "They ambushed me at family dinner 3 weeks ago. Said I was being obvious about wanting to propose. Made me rehearse multiple versions. Gianna timed me. Paolo critiqued my delivery. Nonna supervised. It was humiliating." "Your whole family knows you're proposing tonight?" "My whole family has known for 3 weeks. They've been impossible. Nonna keeps asking when you're giving her great-grandchildren. Mama bought a wedding planning binder. Papa pulled me aside to discuss the financial implications of marriage. It's been a nightmare." Elena started laughing. She couldn't help it. This man, this beautiful, powerful, slightly awkward man, had practiced proposing with his entire Italian family supervising. "You're laughing," Sal said. "That's not a yes or no. I need a yes or no." "Yes," Elena managed through laughter. Yes. Obviously, yes. Did you think I'd say no? I was 70% sure you'd say yes. 30% worried you'd think it was too fast. It's been 3 months. I know, but I've known for longer. Known since New Year's Eve, really. Maybe even before that. He opened the box, revealing a ring. Emerald-cut diamond, elegant and perfect. I had this made for you. Emerald-cut because you mentioned once that you like clean lines. Set in platinum because you don't like yellow gold. The band has small diamonds all the way around, because I want you to see sparkle no matter which way the light hits. Elena's eyes filled. You remembered all that? I remember everything you tell me. Even the stuff you think doesn't matter. I mentioned the emerald cut thing once, 2 years ago, when you were looking at cufflinks. I remembered. He took her hand. Elena Morrison, will you marry me? Will you let me be your family? Will you let me give you Sunday dinners and loud holidays and a lifetime of terrible jokes and mediocre rom-coms? Yes. To all of it. Forever, yes. He slid the ring onto her finger. Perfect fit. Because of course he'd somehow figured out her size without her noticing, and kissed her across the table while the waiter tactfully pretended not to watch. My family is going to lose their minds, Sal said when they pulled apart. They've been waiting 3 weeks for this. Your family knew before I did? They guessed. I tried to deny it. Nonna saw through me immediately. She always does. We should tell them. We should. But I kind of want to keep you to myself for a few more hours first. They ate dinner. Elena barely tasted it, too busy looking at her ring and processing that she was engaged. Engaged. To Sal. After spending her entire life alone, she was getting married. What are you thinking? Sal asked over dessert. That 3 months ago I spent New Year's Eve alone in penguin pajamas talking to a succulent. Now I'm engaged to you. Life is weird. Good weird? The best weird. They went back to Elena's apartment. She still had her own place, though she spent most nights at Sal's. They hadn't discussed moving in together yet, but Elena suspected that conversation was coming soon. Probably at Sunday dinner, with everyone's opinions. I'm going to call my mother, Sal said, pulling out his phone. Now, it's 10 p.m. She made me promise to call the moment you said yes. She's been waiting by the phone for 3 weeks. That's Italian. That's Italian. He dialed. Put it on speaker. Lucia answered on the first ring. Well? She said yes, Mama. Screaming. Actual screaming. Then more voices. Senior, Gianna, Paolo, various cousins. Everyone apparently gathered at Sal's parents' house waiting for this call. I knew it, Lucia yelled. I told you she'd say yes. Now we plan wedding. Big wedding, whole family. I'm thinking September. Mama, we just got engaged 5 minutes ago. September gives us 5 months. Plenty of time. Gianna, get the binder. You already have a binder? Of course I have binder. I've been planning since New Year's Eve. Now we make it real. Elena, you there? I'm here, Elena said. Welcome to family officially. Sunday we celebrate. I'm making feast. You bring nothing except yourself and that ring I want to see. The call devolved into chaos. Everyone talking at once, asking questions, making plans. Sal eventually ended it with promises they'd come to dinner Sunday. Your mother has been planning our wedding for 3 months, Elena said after he hung up. I know, I'm sorry. She's enthusiastic. She has a binder. She has 3 binders, one for the ceremony, one for the reception, one for family considerations, which I think means seating charts to avoid the cousins who aren't speaking to each other. How many cousins aren't speaking to each other? 6. Long story. Involves a boat and a misunderstanding about anchovy pizza. Don't ask. Elena laughed and kissed him. I love your family. They love you too, possibly more than they love me. Definitely more than they love you. Nona told me I'm her favorite. Nona tells everyone they're her favorite. It's her thing. They ended up in Elena's bed, not bothering with pajamas, just wrapped around each other in the dark. "Hey," Sal said quietly. "Thank you." "For what?" "For saying yes. For not running away when my family is overwhelming. For letting me give you this life. Thank you for knocking on my door at midnight. For not letting me spend another New Year alone. For loving me. Always. That's never going to change." Elena fell asleep with her engagement ring catching moonlight from the window, Sal's arm around her, and the knowledge that she'd never be lonely again. Epilogue. September. Elena married Salvatore Rizzo on a perfect September afternoon in the garden of his parents' brownstone, in front of approximately 200 family members who'd become her family too over the past 9 months. The number was actually closer to 250, but Lucia insisted on saying approximately 200 to make it sound more reasonable. It wasn't reasonable. It was massive. 3 generations of Rizzos and their extended families, plus friends who were basically family, plus business associates who couldn't not be invited without causing offense. Lucia had planned everything with military precision, which was good because Elena wouldn't have known where to start. She'd never attended a wedding, let alone planned one. Her idea of wedding planning was watching romantic comedies and assuming it somehow magically happened. Lucia's planning was not magical. It was detailed, organized, and involved 3 binders, 17 spreadsheets, and at least 40 phone calls per day for 5 months. The dress was Nonna Rosa's from 70 years ago, ivory silk that had yellowed slightly with age, restored and altered by a seamstress in the North End, who'd known Nonna since childhood. The lace sleeves had been replaced, the bodice taken in, the train shortened, but the bones of the dress remained the same. Wearing it felt like wearing history. "You honor my Nonna," Lucia had said, with tears in her eyes during the final fitting. "You honor our family. This is gift. This is welcome. You understand?" Elena had understood. She was being claimed, officially, publicly, with 70-year-old silk and a garden full of witnesses. The flowers were Gianna's work. She ran a florist shop Elena hadn't known about until wedding planning started. Apparently, everyone in the Rizzo family had a side business. Gianna had flowers. Paolo had his restaurant. Cousin Angelo did construction. Cousin Maria did accounting. Cousin Roberto had a bakery that supplied half the North End. Italian families, Sal had explained. Everyone works. Everyone contributes. Everyone has a thing. What's your thing? I run the family business. That's my thing. Your thing will be Elena's thing. Whatever you want it to be. The food was catered by Paolo's restaurant. 20 different dishes, all family recipes, everything made fresh that morning by Paolo and his staff who'd started cooking at 4 a.m. The wedding cake was from Cousin Roberto's bakery, 5 tiers, covered in buttercream roses that looked almost real. Your family has so many businesses, Elena had said during planning. Italian family. Everyone has business. You'll learn. The ceremony was traditional Catholic. Elena had converted after months of classes with Father DeMarco, who was 92, and told the same 5 stories every session. She'd learned the prayers, the rituals, the meaning behind everything. Mostly she'd learned that being part of something bigger than herself felt good. Sal cried during the vows. Actually cried, which made Elena cry, which made Lucia cry, which set off a chain reaction that left half the family in tears. You're supposed to be stoic, Elena whispered while wiping his eyes. I'm Italian. We don't do stoic. We do emotional. He kissed her hands. I'm marrying my best friend. I'm allowed to cry. The reception was loud and chaotic and perfect. Dancing that went until 2 a.m. Food that kept appearing in endless waves. Toasts from everyone, including Steve the succulent, who Gianna had brought and placed on the head table with a little bow tie. He's family, Gianna explained. He belongs here. Senior pulled Elena aside during the reception. You've been good for my son. Made him remember how to laugh. Made him remember there's more to life than work. He's been good for me too. Gave me family. Gave me reasons to leave my apartment. That's what family does. Makes you part of something bigger. He squeezed her shoulder. Welcome to the Rizzo family, daughter. Officially. Daughter. Senior had called her daughter. Elena hugged him and tried not to cry again. Late in the evening, when the party was winding down and half the guests had left, Nonna Rosa tapped her glass for attention. I have announcement, she said. Elena and Salvatore married today. This is good. Now I want great-grandchildren. You have 1 year. This is my ruling. Nonna, Sal protested. We can't just... 1 year. I'm 92. I don't have time for delays. You give me great-grandchildren or I haunt you. This is promise. You can't haunt us. You're not dead. Not yet. But I'm planning ahead. Everyone laughed. Even Elena, who'd learned that Nonna's demands were just her way of showing love. They left the reception around midnight. Appropriate, given their relationship had started at midnight on New Year's Eve. Sal drove them to his apartment. Their apartment now, since Elena had finally moved in last month. How do you feel? He asked, carrying her over the threshold because tradition matters, Elena. Married, overwhelmed, happy. Worried about Nonna's 1-year deadline. We'll work on it, but no pressure. We have time. Nonna says we have 1 year. Nonna can wait. They ended up in bed, still in their wedding clothes because they'd gotten distracted kissing in the hallway. Eventually they'd undressed and fallen asleep wrapped around each other, exhausted and happy, and officially married. Elena woke up to sunlight streaming through windows, and her husband, watching her sleep. Hey, she said. Hey, you're married now. So are you. Best decision I ever made. Driving to my apartment at midnight? That too, but marrying you tops it. Elena thought about the past 9 months, about New Year's Eve alone in penguin pajamas, about Sal showing up at midnight because he couldn't stand the thought of her being lonely, about meeting his loud, overwhelming family who'd adopted her immediately, about learning to make pasta and fold fitted sheets and navigate Italian family dynamics, about building a life with someone who'd seen her loneliness and decided to do something about it. I love you, she said. I love you too. Forever. Even when I talk to Succulent? Especially then. Steve needs someone who appreciates him. Your family is going to expect us at dinner tomorrow. Probably. Think you can handle another Sunday dinner as a married woman? I handled 26 as your girlfriend. I can handle them as your wife. 26 Sundays. We've been together 9 months, and you've been to 26 Sunday dinners. Your family is very consistent about Sunday dinner. They're very consistent about family, which you are now, officially, forever. Elena kissed him and thought about how strange life was. How 9 months ago she'd been alone on New Year's Eve, with no family and no friends, and no reason to leave her apartment except work. How now she was married to a man who loved her, part of a loud Italian family who'd claimed her as their own, with Sunday dinners and loud holidays and great-grandchildren expectations from a 92-year-old woman who ruled with an iron wooden spoon. How she'd gone from lonely to loved, all because someone had knocked on her door at midnight and changed everything. Happy? Sal asked. Completely. Overwhelmingly. Forever happy. Good. That's the plan. Forever happy. Together. Together, Elena agreed. No more lonely New Year's Eves. No more lonely anything. You're stuck with me and my family and Sunday dinners for the rest of your life. Best deal I ever made. They spent their first day as a married couple in bed, ignoring phone calls from family members who wanted to congratulate them again, making plans for their honeymoon. Italy, 2 weeks, visiting Nonna's hometown, and generally enjoying being together. Around noon, Elena's phone buzzed with a group text from Gianna. "Sunday dinner tomorrow. Mama's making your favorite. Don't be late. Nonna wants to discuss baby names." "Yes, already." "No, you can't say no. This is family. Welcome to forever. Love you both." Elena showed Sal the text. He laughed. "This is your life now," he said. "Loud Italian family, invasive questions, baby name discussions before you're even trying, Sunday dinners forever." "Sounds perfect," Elena said, and meant it, because after 29 years of being alone, Elena Morrison, now Elena Rizzo, had finally found where she belonged, and it had all started with a knock on her door at midnight on New Year's Eve.